Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
One of the most important lists in QuickBooks is the chart of accounts. You can open this list by selecting Lists and then choosing Chart of Accounts from the menu bar. The chart of accounts lists all of the accounts within your company file. These accounts track all incoming and outgoing money and tell you how much you currently own and owe. When you set up your business in QuickBooks, you get a default list of accounts. Once that has been done, you will probably need to make some changes. You can add, edit, inactivate, delete, and rename accounts within this list. Generally, you can perform any of these tasks by first selecting the account within the chart of accounts that you want to change. Then click the Account button in the lower left corner of the list window and select the desired command to perform from the pop-up menu that appears. Conveniently, in any list that you can open by choosing the Lists command in the menu bar, you can rely on being able to click the button that appears in the lower left corner of the list window to perform the basic list-related tasks. Note that the button is always named the same thing as the list within which it appears. For example, the Account button is the one to click to perform list management in the Chart of Accounts window, and the Item button is the one to click when performing list management within the item list, and so on. Now, to illustrate, assume that you wanted to add a new savings account into your Chart of Accounts. To add a new account, you would select Lists and then choose Chart of Accounts from the menu bar, or press Ctrl+A on your keyboard to open the list. Next, click the Account button in the lower left corner of the Chart of Accounts window and choose the New command from the pop-up menu that appears. This opens the Add New Account, Choose Account Type window where you enter the new account information. First, select the account type from the account options shown. Technically, a savings account is an asset. However, in QuickBooks, when working with asset accounts that have a cash basis, like checking, savings, petty cash, and others, you will want to assign the account as a bank account type to note its cash nature and to be able to use it within transaction windows. After selecting the desired account type, click the Continue button to move to the next screen. You will then see the Add New Account window. Note that when you selected the account type on the previous screen and then clicked the Continue button, all it did was select an account type from the Account Type drop-down shown at the top of this window. Next, you need to enter a name for the account into the Account Name text box. For now, you will skip the Sub-Account Of checkbox and drop-down, as we will discuss creating sub-accounts momentarily, and we will assume that the account being created is not a sub-account of any other main account. The account description field is optional, as are the bank account number, routing number, and tax line mapping fields. When you're finished, simply click the Save and Close button to create the new account and close the new account window. Alternately, you may continue creating new accounts without having to close and reopen the new account window by simply clicking the Save and New button that appears at the bottom of the window. That will allow you to continue creating accounts by simply clearing the new account window, but leaving the new account window open so that you can continue creating accounts. Note that if you choose to do this, the next time that you create an account, you will need to ensure that you select the correct account type from the Account Type drop-down at the top of the window. Also note that you can click the Cancel button to close the new account window without creating an account if needed. Now, to create an account that had a balance as of the start date of the company file, you would simply click the Enter Opening Balance button that appears in the new account window. Doing this will open the Enter Opening Balance window, where you can enter the amount as of the start date of your company file into the Statement Ending Balance field. Then select the statement date, which must be either before of or as of the start date of the company file, from the Statement Ending Date calendar selector. You would then click the OK button to save the account's opening balance. The amounts entered here are attributed to the opening balance equity account in the chart of accounts. Note that for accounts created after the start date, you simply create the account and enter the transactions that show from where the new account received its initial funds. When creating accounts, you will not need to use the opening balance field again after entering your beginning account balances when initially starting your company file. You can also create sub-accounts of accounts that are already created within the chart of accounts. This allows you to attribute transaction amounts to specific sub-accounts of a primary account for reporting purposes. For example, if you had an automobile expense account, you could create sub-accounts for gas versus maintenance and repairs to easily show within a single report the different amounts spent on gas versus repairs and maintenance for your company vehicles, as well as the total amount spent on automobile expenses. Note that the balance of any main account that has sub-accounts is the total of all transactions attributed to the main account, including all balances within its sub-accounts. You create a sub-account in the same way that you create any other account within the chart of accounts. However, first ensure that you have created the main account for which you want to create the sub-account. Note that the only difference when creating sub-accounts versus creating primary accounts is that you must check the sub-account of checkbox and then choose its primary account from the adjacent drop-down menu. Also note that sub-accounts must always be the exact same account type as their parent accounts. To edit an account, simply select the account to edit within the chart of accounts. Then click the Account button in the lower left corner of the list and choose the Edit Account command from the pop-up menu that appears. Alternately, note that you can also right-click the account to edit within the Chart of Accounts window, and then simply select the Edit Account command from the pop-up menu that appears. Either way, you will then see the Edit Account window appear. Edit the account information in this window as needed, and then click the Save and Close button to save your changes and close the window. You may have accounts you never use listed in your chart of accounts. If you have an account that you would like to delete in the chart of accounts, you may do so only if there are no transactions associated with the account. After there are transactions assigned to an account, you can no longer delete it, as doing that would compromise your company's financial information. In that case, you first need to remove the transactions from the account, either by reassigning each transaction in the account to the other correct account, or by deleting them entirely if they are incorrect. However, this may not be feasible for your situation. After there are no transactions within the account, then you are allowed to delete it. Now, to delete an empty account within the chart of accounts, you would select the account to delete, then click the Account button in the lower left corner of the Chart of Accounts window, and choose the Delete Account command from the pop-up menu that appears. After selecting the Delete command, you will then need to click the OK button in the message box that appears to permanently delete the selected account. If you have an account that you used at one point in the past but no longer actively use, you can inactivate it to hide it, since you cannot delete it. Now, when an account is inactivated, it will not appear by default in your chart of accounts. However, the account information is retained for reporting in QuickBooks. You can actually make items in almost all of your lists inactive to hide items that you no longer use. In the chart of accounts, you can inactivate an account by selecting the name of the account, clicking the Account button in the lower left corner of the list window, and then choosing the Make Account Inactive command from the pop-up menu. Inactivating list items will be covered in depth in Lesson 3.8.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.